You guys impacted internationally early in your career, and I wanted you to share some memories of first realizing that you were beyond an American phenomenon, that you really were an international phenomenon.
Wow. Well, it's funny when certain words are used like phenomena. I don't look at us as that.
Success.
Yeah, and I look at me and I compare my pockets to some of the artists that are out there, and I look like the hip hop homes and stuff like that, and I say that I haven't been successful at all if I'm gonna measure my wealth by
cribs.
Yeah, by cribs, exactly, and cars. But we've always been grounded. When things first started breaking for us, it was a fast time for us. We were young, and I said, we were all sitting around talking. We said, you know what? We got to understand that this stuff don't last forever. So the house that I bought in '74, I still had that house. I never ventured out to the big house on the hill and swimming pools and all. I never ventured there because I wanted to be able to keep what I had when all this is over. Now, had I just did that instead of refinancing as many times as I did, it would have been totally paid for, but that's the life. But successful as far as touching people's heart and our music being known all over the world. If you want to measure success that way, yeah, we're very, very, very successful.
And I think personally, that's how I measure it. I don't measure it myself as I've grown older. Maybe when I was younger, I measured it that way. But as I've grown older, I measure success and like how many hearts have you touched. I kind of look at it like when an artist dies, you think, like Michael Jackson. I didn't personally relate to Michael Jackson until he died, right? And when he died, and I'm watching him on stage dancing and moving, and days of these, it was waves hit me over the course of several days, and I realized, my God, this guy was like a second James Brown in so many ways. I like the genius that he offered. So I guess I look at the success thing too, and I would judge it by, in 1975, you have a #1 song in England. You're able to touch all these people in England's lives to such a degree that unless it was just blow that the record label was given to the radio stations, you were really achieving success.
Yeah. And it's funny because again, England came not from Tom Bell's music. England came from, and then it seemed like England came back to Tom Bell and started getting into You Make Me Feel Brand New and Bet You By Golly Wild and You Everything. But the songs that made us big was a song that was produced by Hugo and Luigi. I Can't Give You Anything.
And Heavy.
Yeah, Heavy. Not one of my favorite songs, or albums. But when Hugo and Luigi started producing us, they came on the tail of Tom Bell. So Hugo and Luigi had to step up and come up with, all the Tom Bell's albums were gold, so they had to come up with something at least gold on paper or whatever. So they came up with I Can't Give You Anything. That was the first album that they produced. And that was also the first video, up on the rooftop.
With the fro that Russell has this man.
The wind is blowing, it was like, man, we look rough.
That is the first video I was going to ask, so that was it. And you have any memories of doing that? That is a pioneering moment.
Yeah. I remember going up on the rooftop. I can't say where it was. It was an apartment building.
Great shot, the pan of Philly.
Mm-hmm. It was New York.
That wasn't even Philly.
It was New York.
What an outrage.
Yep.
Lucky people weren't throwing cheese sticks at you for that one.
Exactly. But, that wasn't a big Philly hit either.
Okay.
It's funny because when Tommy was doing our stuff, there was the R&B scene, and then it was the pop scene. So most black records came out, they went R&B automatically because of the urban sound or whatever. And every producer and record company wished that the song would go pop.
Crossover.
Yeah. And most of our songs did do that. But now when Hugo and Luigi did it, it went straight pop. It never hit the R&B chart
At all.
At all. And people were saying like, "Oh God, you guys sold out. You know, you changed the sound of your music and this and that." It wasn't that we changed the sound; it was the producers that we were, using at the time, Hugo and Luigi.
And that was another question that I had. It's funny, you're like weaving right in things I was intending to ask. How much did peer pressure, when you watch this, when you listen to the evolution of your sound through the years, and a lot of bands through the 70s, I mean, a lot of bands, their sound evolves. How much in that period was peer pressure of what other people were doing impacting your direction, like the arrival of disco, that sort of thing?
Mm-hmm. Wasn't much peer pressure, especially working with Tommy. He was kind of like a trendsetter. And I remember him saying to Russell, I'm gonna place your key here, because when I have you going up, all the first tenors out there are going to go up, and when I'm gonna bring you right down. And he brought him down where his natural voice and first tenor would mix. It was hard to distinguish between when he went into his falsetto, and Tommy did that. It wasn't no peer pressure to do that. But when Hugo and Luigi started producing us, that's when the disco era, came around. And even though his stuff wasn't doing anything stateside, it was taken off overseas. So now the clubs that we were working at in Philly and around the country are now disco clubs, and they're having entertainment. So the entertainment work is going down. We're overseas. We're going to England for 7 and 8 weeks. We're going to Japan, and our music is starting to
evolve
there.
And the live music, right, is still really banging there.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. In fact, we were going to England when Stevie Wonder wasn't, and I remember talking about that. But England was strange, because when we went there, a lot of songs that were from the '60s and stuff were current on the charts there. I mean, so like, wow, this is like a time zone or something that they still playing these old music, but that's the way they were at that time.
And their charts are still kind of weird like that, because if you look at the British rock charts for recent times, they still have like Queen and stuff. They don't separate it. It's hard to find a separated new music chart. That's weird over there.
Never much pressure, even though Van McCoy came in and started producing us, and I mean he did some successful producing for himself as far as disco music, but nothing really jumped off disco style for us.
Yeah, it's more, I guess, when you see someone else become successful with something, do you think like, man, I wonder if we should go like in that direction because it's happening? Kind of like when, in the late 70s for rock, for instance, John Bonham of Led Zeppelin, he had this drum sound. So then everybody wanted to have that Zeppelin drum sound in the rock business. And I just wonder, as things evolved and people became more, did you ever, I guess you're saying you never felt compelled, like we got to adjust our sound with the times?
Yeah, it wasn't something that we personally felt. It was something like the record company did.
Mm-hmm. And they would bring that in.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I guess their idea of a disco hit was, I can't give you anything but my love. And in fact, in the show, we announced it as a disco song, but it was something, we weren't at a point where we said, oh God, we got to do some disco stuff or something. No.
Good. Well, that's cool. You held your ground.
Yeah, not good or bad, but it just, we weren't feeling it.
And I always wondered that as you listen to the sound of the Stylistics sort of change over time, where the chicken or egg phenomenon of it. Mm-hmm. What brought it around first. As we wrap it up, one of the things that I talked about with you before a long time ago, the first time I interviewed you on the phone, was about your appearances on Soul Train and some of the early TV that you did. Mm-hmm. When you would do those Soul Train appearances in particular, how many times, where was the band? Was there ever a band, and was it always lip synced? Describe for me what actually was live on those.
The fact that we were there, that we were the only live thing that was going on at the time. Some TV shows, if you sing live, it may be a backing track, but it's live vocals. Soul Train was always tracks. but never any actual live singing. Not for us. I'm not saying that they didn't do it all, but every time we did it, we were singing with tracks, and one thing stands out in my mind. What was the name of the song? First impressions are misleading, and that was the words, and I said not for R, and I saw my mouth, every time I saw the program play, instead of saying R, my mouth went, and I said, it didn't work. It did not work. But, that was one of those, that was the only time I did that. Usually, if you sing with a track, you sing exactly, you sing it out, even though it's a track playing. And that way, your wording can be exactly, but not that time. Not that time. That was bad.
Any good Don Cornelius stories that come to mind?
Don was always strange to me. And just seeing him a year or so ago, he's even got stranger, but he never had too much to say to us. Hey guys, how you doing? Look good. Also, so you still hitting those notes, that was it. No, nothing outside of that.
No real rapport?
No.
Michael Jackson or Barry White, anything with either of them?
Wow, yeah, I have one memory of Michael. I'm trying to think. He wasn't on his own at the time, but we had did a show in Los Angeles, and it was Smokey Robinson, The Temptations, and us, and somebody else. And this was at the large forum in L.A., and naturally all of Motown was there, and the Jacksons was there, and when we came off stage, we were changing in the dressing room, which was like the locker room, And a door opened, and Michael came in, and everybody went. And he said, I just want to say you guys did a really good job. And nobody said anything. And he just turned around and left. And he said, that was Michael Jackson. Damn, that was Michael Jackson. But we were just like, we couldn't believe it, and we looked at each other. It was so funny afterwards, and never got a chance to talk to him even that day because they had an after party there. But he was just bombarded with people. I remember him sitting on the couch and people were to his right and left, so I really couldn't get over there. But I did talk to his brother Tito, and I said, my sister's a big fan. So I called home. I let him speak to my sister, But that was it. But we did a show in Los Angeles. Was it March, I believe it was, but Jermaine came to the show.
This year?
Yeah, he came to the show. In fact, I think eBay might have a picture of him and Jermaine, but no, we were
not yourself.
Right, we all did. But
what a great memory! The look on your face of I can imagine how shocked you were.
And we talk about it and laugh. Just walked in, and it was so quiet you could hear a pin drop. And we just stared, But he was cool. He came in.
What year was that?
Ooh, it had to be late '70s. Yeah.
Oh, it was that long ago?
It had to be. Yeah, because he wasn't Michael Jackson on his own, So he was still with his brothers. Yeah.
That's a priceless story. I can't ask for more than that. I really appreciate getting to go through your memory banks, and I know you've done all this stuff so many times, but it really does mean a lot to me. I hope you had fun doing it.
I did, Dave. I did, and hey, it's my pleasure. Anytime. You got the numbers. Yeah.
I will stay in touch, and Airrion Love, the Stylistics, and a true Hawaii favorite, sharing some memories here. A big mahalo. Be safe, my brother.
Thank you.